Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for Fear the Walking Dead, and in today's video we're going to be doing another ranking video. This one's going to be going over each season of Fear the Walking Dead and ranking them from worst to best. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for Fear the Walking Dead, and in today's video we're going to be doing another ranking video, of course following up some of the other ranking videos we've been doing this week for Fear the Walking Dead, now that the show has come to its conclusion. In today's video we're going to talk about the worst to best seasons of Fear the Walking Dead. Now, of course, make sure to remind you guys that, we're going to be doing a lot of ranking videos over the next few days because Fear the Walking Dead is over. I do also plan on doing a full-on top 10 best characters of the series and also doing top 10 best episodes, and then we'll do the opposite. We'll do like the worst episodes and the best episodes and all that stuff. So, it'll be interesting to do that. I'm very excited to continue with the Fear the Walking Dead ranking videos. This one was definitely one that took some thought. That's why I waited a few days to do this one. We will also have a Q&A, by the way, later on this week. I'm just kind of holding off. I'm trying to really gather your guys' thoughts and let you guys kind of sit on the episodes, but I'll probably be doing a Q&A either tomorrow or the day after that, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Also, ask any questions that you may have, so that's another thing you could also leave is, if you have any Q&A comments for the Q&A, because it's going to be a big one, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's get into the worst to best seasons of Fear the Walking Dead. Okay, so I thought about this for a while. I really had to sit on it, especially Season 8. I wanted to really think about where I wanted this one to go in the list, and ultimately, this is my list for Fear the Walking Dead seasons. Number 8, the worst season of Fear the Walking Dead, we're going to get started with Season 7. Now, this season, I don't think there are really many redeeming factors about it, if at all, to be honest. Pretty much every character in this season has a flaw or a bad decision at one moment or another. The visual storytelling with the nuke and the visuals of the yellow smoke, and then, but then Strand's tower, the wind pattern took some of it away. Like, there's some really ridiculous writing this season. And not to mention, there's a lot of things that I don't like. I find that they really ruin Daniel's character with the memory loss. Alicia is horrible this season, and that's saying something, but, I do not like Alicia this season. A lot of her decisions, a lot of her motives make no sense, very inconsistent. She's waking up, passing out, waking up, passing out every 2 seconds. It's a very aggravating story to watch. And overall, I felt like this season, what really made this one the worst one of the entire series is the fact that Alicia Denham Carey leaves the show and Kim Dickens returns the next episode right after she leaves. I mean, honestly, that is the moment I knew this was the worst season. Not to mention, Victor Strand was not a good villain. He was awful. Capturing babies, he had a baby obsession. I mean, it was so dumb. There were a lot of pointless bottle episodes, a lot of really bad character decisions, and overall, it was just not a good season. It was not a good season. The radiation got really tiresome. They didn't even treat it realistically, if you ask me. Alicia was frustrating. Wes was absolutely horrible, and so many other things. I mean, honestly, there are not many redeeming factors about this season. The only things I can say nice is that I think that they wrapped up Althea in a good way. That's one positive I'll give it. Her final episode was pretty alright. But aside from that, yeah, no, I got nothing. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a good season. So there you go. And Morgan and Strand's rivalry, too, they didn't develop it well enough. I didn't find that it was any good. So, yeah, there you go. Number 7 is then going to go to Season 8, the final season. Now, this one really saddens me to say that the final season is this low on the list, but here's my main reason why. They bring back Madison and Troy from the dead, literally, and they absolutely butchered Troy Otto. I'm sorry. After a few days of sitting on it, after really gathering my thoughts on Troy's return, I do not enjoy it. I don't like what they did with it. I don't like what they did with Tracy. Tracy was a very annoying little kid and not well written at all. I found Troy Otto to be absolutely just terribly written. I think that the way they killed him off, too, is ridiculous. I think the only reason that they even brought Troy in the first place is for views. Absolutely, that's the only reason. Because it's absolutely crazy that the guy's even alive to begin with, And they only did it so that they can get views for their final season. That's the only reason they did it. Especially because they knew that they were losing Morgan. They knew that they were losing Lenny James. So they're like, what can we do to make this work, And like I said, man, this season, look, if there are two things I will compliment about this, I think that Morgan's exit in the show, putting down his son, of course, going to find Rick and all that shit, that was good. And I also think that Alicia's return, though it was rather convenient, I did enjoy seeing that at the end of the show. But pretty much everything else I didn't like. I didn't like what they did with Troy. I did not enjoy Padre. Crane and Shrike were a horrible group of villains. Odessa was absolutely so frustrating. Little Mo, Morgan's daughter, was so annoying. They had this whole concept of radiation treating a walker infection, which was so unrealistic for The Walking Dead. Victor was annoying as all get out. The Dwight and Sanctuary episode I found to be an utter waste of time. There were battles that were skipped over. There were pieces of dialogue that they would tell you that is like a really important part. Like, for example, when Madison escaped the stadium, they'll just tell you like, oh yeah, we found you in the tanker. Like, like the writing was not good. The writing was not good this season. Like I said, I think it has some moments with Morgan and the Alicia return I genuinely like. But aside from that, I mean, honestly, it's not a good season. It is not a good season. And to be honest, if you put the radiation filter from season 7 over this season, it would feel like the same quality. I'm not even going to lie. So, yeah, no, not a good season. Not a good season at all. Number 6 is then going to go to this one. You guys are going to have to bear with me with this one. I'm sure I'm going to offend people with this opinion. Number 6 is going to be season 2. Okay. Now, here's why season 2 is so low. I don't give a shit about any of the storylines this season. I don't. I'm sorry. I really don't. I don't like the Abigail storyline. I don't. And the reason why I don't like it is because every single episode we're making pit stops, stopping in these different locations. And then it's like, within the episode, it doesn't matter. Like, We All Fall Down, season 2, episode 2. What an utter waste of time. There is no impact on the actual story. Same thing with Jack's group, like in season 2, episode 4, season 2, episode 5. There is no longevity impact to the overall story. Celia's compound, I just didn't really care for. I didn't think Celia worked as a character. She wasn't developed enough. It's almost like a poorly written dollar store Herschel from Walking Dead, and it just fell flat on its face. Characters are consistently doing really, really stupid things, like Nick leaving his mother for no apparent reason, going out there drinking his own piss. And you've got now look, here's the one thing about this season that I think gives it an advantage over 7 and 8. I genuinely like the story that's told with Travis. I like the story told with Travis. I like what they do with Chris. I think the death of Chris is well handled, and when Travis beats those guys to death, I thought it was really good. But in the same strength, I didn't enjoy the hotel. I didn't enjoy a lot of the things they were doing. I think this season suffers a lot from useless and boring stories, to be honest. Alejandro, I'm bit. Oh, wait a minute, I'm not bit. I've been faking it the whole time. What the fuck are we doing? Seriously, to me, Travis and Chris saved this whole season. Honestly, from not being the worst one. So, that's just my opinion. And that's why when people say, oh, Dave Erickson era is so flawless, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Seriously. And oh my god, man, how dare you say something bad about Erickson era these days? Holy shit. But yeah, no, this season, I never liked it. Even when it came out, I was like, that was not that good, to be honest. So, there you go. Coming in at number 5 is going to be season 4. This season absolutely butchered Fear the Walking Dead, for sure. And to be honest, the only reason it's higher than season 2 or any of the other seasons before this is because I genuinely like the first few episodes. I like Morgan's crossover. I like John Dory. I like the story between John and June at the cabin. I thought that was really nice. Althea starts off as a really promising character. I like what they do at the stadium. I like how they tell one timeline and then another timeline, and you have to figure out how it makes sense and stuff. It's kind of like a puzzle. It's like a mystery, and it's done in a really creative way, I must say. But here's the thing about it, right? On the other flip side, you've got Martha, who's one of the worst villains of the entire show. 4B in general, I just consider pretty much a write-off, to be honest. Besides the episode with Alicia and Charlie, that episode was pretty alright, but aside from that, the half season sucked. And Madison's, death, which I do call death, that was written as a death. Shitty death for that character. And even a more shittier death for Nick. I mean, honestly. And look, I know the actor wanted to leave, but they could have handled that in way better of a fashion. And to be honest, I just don't understand why they didn't have Nick be the one to sacrifice himself and Madison lives on. To be honest, I don't see why they didn't do that at all. That would have made way more sense if Nick was the hero and saved everybody, at the stadium. I think that would have been way better, to be honest. So, anyway, but yeah, this season, it ruins a lot. It really ruins a lot of the Erickson, era of the show. And for that, it definitely has to be still on the lower end, but it's like it's in the middle. It's middle ground to me. Number 4 is then going to be season 5. Season 5, I gotta tell you, is not that good. And we're in our top 4 now. But this one right here, the only reason why season 5 is higher than season 2 and season 4 and all that shit, 'cause I'm sure I'm gonna get people asking me that. I genuinely like the first 4 episodes. I know that sounds insane. I like Dwight's introduction. I like what they do with the plane crash. I like what they do with, the Daniel return. I like a lot of what they do there, to be honest. To me, when the season goes to shit is when they have the idea to rebuild a plane with a fucking book. That's when I was like, okay, what the hell is going on, Not to mention, it's a boring ass season. Like, they just go around helping people the whole season. It gets really, really aggravating to a point where they're filming their friggin', helping people sessions with a friggin' documentary camera. And it just does not end up well. Virginia is not intimidating whatsoever. Logan was pathetic. I thought Logan was horrible. And there's a lot of really bad characters in this season. Wes, I don't like him at all. Sarah, I never got into the character. I know a lot of people like Sarah. I personally can't stand her. I don't like her at all. And yeah, like I said, I think the best thing about this season is Dwight, John, June. You know what I mean? I thought they were a cool trio. That's about it. I mean, like I said, the opening first few episodes of this season are pretty alright. But that's about it, you know what I mean? And I think that's the main reason it's higher than the others is because it's just a boring and dumb season rather than an offensive and bad ruins the show type of season, you know what I mean? Which was season 4, if you ask me. Season 5 was just bullshit, but it was like bullshit and just random nonsense, you know what I mean? So that's why, at least in my opinion, it's better. Which is not a compliment to the season at all because, again, it's a bad season, but, there you go. Number 3 now, top 3. So, number 3 is going to go to season 1. I genuinely think this season is pretty good. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. It's not great. It's definitely not great. I think there's things that could have been handled better. 104 is one of the most boring episodes I've ever watched with the frickin' oh, I see the big shining light in the distance. Who gives a shit? But on the flip side, I enjoy seeing the fall of LA. I enjoy the introduction to a lot of these characters. Madison, Nick, Strand, Daniel, it's pretty good. And the finale with the military battle, I genuinely really liked, There's not much to say about this season because it's pretty short, but I like it. I think it's definitely the third best. Number 2 is then going to be season 6. Now, this season upped the ante a little bit from the past few seasons before. This season, I thought did a really good job on Morgan. Morgan Jones is probably at his all-time best of the entire franchise, if you ask me. In this season, he's absolutely a badass, and I absolutely love it. Not to mention, I love episodes 1 to 4, you know what I mean? 5, I'm not big on with the whole Sherry nonsense and all that. But overall, this season's really good in a lot of areas, Not to mention, this season, they really do go out of their way to make it brutal, I mean, they kill a baby in the fucking show. They kill a baby. That's how screwed up this season is. And I genuinely really like the cult. I like Teddy. I like the Nuke storyline. I like it. I think it's really good. I think the finale and the way they wrapped up the season was really harsh, to be honest. It was really just rough and kind of rushed. Well, best way to put it. But at the same time, I like Teddy. I think he had charisma. I think he was funny. And I don't know. Every time he's on screen, I find him to be kind of, kind of entertaining. Alicia, you were right. I confess. And he's sitting there and he's like, oh, don't worry, that's not my mother. Dun dun dun. Wait, what did you say? It was entertaining. I don't know. It was an entertaining, character. It was an entertaining storyline. And I think the only big things I don't like is Sherry this season. I don't like John Dory's death either. Dakota can be pretty aggravating at times, but besides that, it was relatively well done. I liked a lot of what they did here. But in my opinion, the best season of Fear the Walking Dead is going to go to season 3. Now, don't get this mistaken, honestly. I want to make sure I specify. This season is overrated as all get out. It really is. But is it the best season of Fear the Walking Dead? You damn right it is. It's the only season that honestly is the most consistently good. You know what I mean? I think the only flaws really I have with the season is that Travis was killed in a really poor way. I think they could have written that a lot better, to be honest. Ophelia's death too, I wasn't too crazy on. I mean, it was just kind of there. I do think that they kill too many characters this season, I'm going to be honest. Also, I'm not really all for Walker being a wuss in 3B. I find that Walker just kind of gets tamed down a little bit. And there are a lot of writing decisions that I don't agree with this season, but the reason it's the best is because it has the best group of characters in the show. It had the best storyline of the show. There are a lot of really brutal things in this season with, Proctor John and his group, Walker and the crazy shit he was doing. Not to mention Troy Otto is absolutely phenomenal. And the whole ranch thing and the whole family orientation stuff, I mean, it's really well done. It really is. And in general, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. It's the best season of Fear the Walking Dead. So, for that all to say, Fear the Walking Dead is not a great show. It's not a great show. But I think Season 6 and Season 3 are definitely their biggest wins for this show. The rest of the seasons are either just or holy shit, what the fuck was that bullshit? Like, you know what I mean? So this show is definitely a very up and down show. For the most part, it's not the greatest show, but there are redeeming factors. The top two of this, I think, are pretty darn good. So there you go. That's my thoughts overall. Those are the seasons ranked for Fear the Walking Dead. Let me know your ranking in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos for Fear the Walking Dead. Be sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for Fear the Walking Dead. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.